Hi, Shalev Amar here with your Lemon Law Advocates. And what I would like to talk to you about is what you should ask any lemon law firm before you agree to hire them to represent you for a lemon law or a breach of warranty claim. So let's get into it. Number one, the first question you should ask is, how long will it take you to review my records once I send you my repair records? If you're told anything longer than one business day, that's a bit of a red flag. Here's why. If a firm is properly staffed, they should be able to review your records within one business day. In fact, if you send your records before midday, they should maybe even be able to get back to you the same day. So if you're told something longer than one business day, especially if you're told a week or longer, that's a huge red flag that the firm is understaffed. And that means if you do end up being signing up with that firm, that they might take longer to process your case than they should because they don't have enough staff and they can't handle their workload. They need to hire more people. So just be aware of that. Number two, the second question that you should ask any lemon law firm that you're considering hiring is, are they willing to litigate the case if they're unable to settle out of court? Now, the vast majority of cases do settle out of court. With our firm, about 95+% of our cases settle out of court. However, you need to have the carrot and the stick when dealing with these companies. When dealing with a car company, an RV company, a boat company, or a motorcycle company. Because guess what? They know the firms who will sue them versus the ones who won't. Do you think that that will affect what they're willing to offer in these cases? Of course it will. So, although it's preferable to settle out of court, and we do try and settle all the cases that we can out of court, you have to be willing to litigate. You have to have that stick. So, if a firm tells you that, you know what, no, we just try and settle these types of cases out of court, we don't ever go to court, we don't ever file a lawsuit, again, you need to be wary of that because the companies know that. And, you know, there's a couple of reasons why attorneys might not want to go to court. It's obviously a lot more work, it can be stressful to go to court, and also it could be more time consuming. There could be extra risk involved. It can be, you know, when you're dealing with a defense attorney and a large defense firm, they can be difficult to deal with. But if you have a valid case and the other side is not fair with you, the firm that you hire should be willing to litigate, irrespective of these issues. So definitely ask that question. Number three, you should ask any lemon law firm that you're considering hiring what their policy is with regards to returning client phone calls. One of the biggest complaints about attorneys is how long they take to get back to people who call. Some attorneys actually don't even return calls, they'll just get back to you with an email. So that could be an extremely frustrating situation. Definitely ask any firm that you're thinking of hiring what their policy is as far as taking client calls. With our firm, our policy is to take client calls immediately, and if we're unavailable for whatever reason, it's to return the phone call within one business day. And any firm that you're considering hiring, they should have some kind of policy. And if they don't have a policy, you know, that could be an issue. Number four, the fourth question that you should ask is are lemon law claims your primary practice area? What we've seen lately is firms out there where their primary practice area is a totally different area of law. It could be personal injury, it could be consumer fraud, it could be truth in lending, it could be bankruptcy, it could be a variety of other legal practice areas that the firm primarily practices, and as an afterthought, they'll take a lemon law case here and there. One way to be able to tell this is if you're going through the website and there's multiple pages in the website and the lemon law page is maybe, you know, the 6th tab on the website. That should tell you that this firm, that's not their primary practice area. And here's why you should be concerned about that. Every area of law is constantly evolving. The law is not set in black and white. Now, there are statutes that apply to lemon law and breach of warranty cases, but those statutes are interpreted by courts. And if an appellate court or a state Supreme Court interprets a statute, that could change the way the law is applied. Now, because there's lots of legal opinions that come out, there's a lot to stay on top of, and it's very difficult to know about every minutia in the law, every legal opinion, and frankly, every company, what their policies are. Some are more generous, some are less generous, some require more evidence, some require less evidence. Some are more likely to settle, some are less likely to settle, and you have to fight. It's very, very difficult to stay on top of all those things if this is not your primary practice area. On top of that, if an attorney or a firm just dabbles in lemon law or breach of warranty cases, they also have not built a relationship with the representatives of these manufacturers. So oftentimes over the years, you start dealing with the same people, you build rapport, you work together, you resolve cases, and in the long run, that helps you settle your case because there's a relationship that's developed over time. Usually it becomes cordial. And you can't develop that type of relationship if you only deal with these types of claims sporadically. So that's the other reason why it's important that if you hire a firm, that it primarily deals with lemon law claims. Now, with that being said, there could be firms that are affiliated with a lemon law firm. It might not be their primary practice area, but they're affiliated with a firm who does have that as their primary practice area, and that helps mitigate a lot of these issues. But you should definitely find out, again, whether that's that primary practice area. Number 5, the fifth question that you should ask any lemon law firm that you're thinking of hiring is what their fee is for representation, and also whether they're willing to cut that fee and under what circumstances. So let me explain that. Most lemon law firms, they have a flat fee for out-of-court representation. It's because roughly the same amount of work is required from start to finish for every case. So it's just a lot easier to have a flat fee representation. Sometimes the representation will require more work than the flat fee if the billing was done hourly, sometimes slightly less, but the flat fee is basically an average of what it takes to resolve these types of cases out of court. So here's the issue. There could be two circumstances where you might want the firm to lower the attorney's fees. The first one is some companies will offer a repurchase or replacement of a vehicle, but they won't offer the full fee. And so, look, in all fairness, they should offer the full fee if they're offering you max compensation, and a repurchase or replacement is max compensation under the law. It's not fair to penalize the law firm and not pay them their full fee in that scenario. So look, it's understandable if a firm might want you to contribute to the remaining gap in the fee out of the refund, and if you're getting a brand new replacement, to pay the fee difference then, because again, you're basically paying for a brand new car. So we're not going to say that's improper to charge under those circumstances, but you should at least be aware if there would be a charge under those circumstances. So be sure to ask that question. The second scenario where that could come up is if there ends up being a low cash compensation offer that doesn't fully cover the attorney's fees and compensation to you equally. What that means is based on the flat fee, the law firm would be getting paid more than you. Now, we don't think that should happen. You're the one who's been dealing with a lemon vehicle. So what you have to do is you should ask the firm if they would be willing to cut their fee under that circumstance, at least split the offer in half with you so they're not getting paid more than you. That's something you should definitely know. The sixth question that you should ask is whether there's any way you would be charged for out-of-court representation. Now, we briefly went over this scenario before, but the two main ways where you could end up being charged for out-of-court representation is if you're offered a buyback or a replacement, but the company refuses to pay the full attorney's fees. Now, as explained before, it's not necessarily unfair for the attorney to request that you cover that gap either out of your refund or out of pocket if it's a brand new replacement vehicle, but you should know if there's the possibility of that being a charge. That way you can decide if that's acceptable to you ahead of time. Lastly, the last question that you should ask any lemon law firm before you hire the firm is whether they have a written out-of-court representation agreement. What we've seen happen with some consumers is they will just send their records to a law firm to review, and then the law firm will get back to them a couple of weeks later or a month or more later with a settlement offer from the other side because they've sent a notice or demand letter to the company, but they've never entered any type of representation agreement with you. So you don't know exactly what the terms of representation are. Now, sometimes people, they feel okay because they're like, wow, you're coming back to me with an offer. But, you know, agreements are important for the extreme situations of when certain contingencies come up, certain unexpected things come up, and you should know what will happen in those situations. What some other firms do is, again, after they review your records, they won't send you an agreement, but they'll send a letter on your behalf, and then they'll email you some case guidelines, and in those guidelines, it's basically got an agreement in there and saying, like, these are the terms of representation. Well, you should know about that ahead of time. You should have the opportunity to agree to that and to sign an agreement, not have something provided to you on a take it or leave it basis, and they're already acting as if they represent you. So what we recommend is when you send the records to any firm to review, put in the fax or the email that they don't represent you yet. You do not agree to representation unless there's a mutually agreed upon attorney-client agreement. So those are the 7 questions that you should ask any lemon law firm before deciding to hire them. I just want to let you know that I am the founder of Amar Law Group. I am licensed in Arizona and in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and in several federal courts nationwide. Our firm is a multi-state firm. We're working on becoming a national firm as quickly as possible. We have attorneys licensed in multiple states. Now, if we don't have an attorney licensed in the state that you're in, let us know anyways. We'll help you locate local counsel. We're here to help you.